If you're on a transatlantic cruise and you see Ponta Delgada on the itinerary, don't underestimate this stop. It's not just another European port. It's steaming geothermal valleys, crater lakes that look like they're photoshopped, and food that's literally cooked in the earth. I'm breaking down exactly what to do, West Coast, East Coast, or staying local in the city, so you can make the most of this transatlantic stop. I'm Jo, your mid-range traveler, and let's plan this port. You're in the Azores, specifically São Miguel Island, and the best way I can describe it is this. It feels like Iceland's geothermal drama, Hawaii's volcanic coastlines, and Ireland's dramatic sea cliffs, all collided in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's technically Portugal, but it doesn't feel like the mainland Europe at all. And the best part? Your ship docks right in town. No tender and no shuttles. You can walk off the ship and be at the city gates in under 10 minutes. So if you don't want to book an excursion, you're not stranded. The city is amazing and charming, but the real wow factor is outside of the city walls. The first option is staying local. Yes, everybody photographs the city gates, but Ponta Delgada is more than just those gates. You can walk around the historical church, and you can stroll along the Marina Promenade. And you can visit the beautiful botanical gardens like Jardim Antonio Borges. That garden feels slightly wild. Tropical trees, winding paths, stone archways, and hidden tunnels. It almost feels like a secret jungle in the middle of town. And then there's the food. São Miguel is covered in cows. This island is known for the dairy production, so try the fresh São Miguel cheeses. If you're staying local, try limpets. They're small shellfish grilled in garlic butter. And of course, a pastel de nata with espresso. You're in Portugal after all, might as well try one of those classic pastries. Even if you book an excursion for outside the city, you'll still probably have time to explore it. So let's take a look at what your options are by getting out of town. And this is where São Miguel really shines. Let's talk about the West Coast. This is where you'll find Sete Cidades, twin lakes inside a massive volcanic crater. One is blue, one is green. From the Vistas do Rio viewpoint, it honestly looks surreal. The scale is what really can get you. There's a few different options on how to explore these twin lakes. You can go on a group tour on a bus, which will take the paved road to the King's View. Or you can do what we did, which was take a private tour where you go on the edge of the volcano walls and really get to explore. It's a super fun adventure and it's more personalized. Most tours then continue to the coastal village of Mosteiras. Even our private tour took us here. This is where you'll see the black volcanic beaches, the lava rock formations, and waves crashing into the Atlantic. It's basically like volcanic pools, and it's just so much fun. Highly recommend this, but definitely bring your water shoes. I'll have those linked. The West Coast is a great option if you want dramatic landscapes, iconic viewpoints, and that famous Azores photo. These tours, whether it's private or group tour, generally are only 4 to 5 hours long. It's a great option if you have more limited time in São Miguel. If this video is helping you plan your transatlantic cruise stop, be sure to subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And tell me below, are you planning to do an excursion while you're at this port? Now let's talk about the third option, which is heading over to the East Coast. Most tours follow a really nice scenic route across the side of the island. It usually starts on the coast with some beautiful cliff views over the Atlantic Ocean. This is where the landscape really reminded me of Ireland. Rolling green hills, dramatic cliffs, and the ocean stretching out below. From there, many stops will go to one of São Miguel's tea plantations. You get to walk through the tree fields, visit the factory, and try some fresh Azorean tea. This is a true working tea farm, so it really feels cool. I thought it might have been a little gimmicky, but after being there, it was amazing. The tours then generally head towards Furnace. And this is where you get to start seeing some geothermal activity. The steam is rising around from the ground, lush green hills all around, and the smell of sulfur in the air. And many tours stop at Terra Nostra Park. And this is where you can swim in the famous hot springs. The water is naturally heated by the earth and surrounded by beautiful gardens. There is a lot of iron in those waters, so make sure to plan to wear darker swimwear, and also I recommend bringing your own towel. I use a Turkish towel, and the cruise line will be thankful because it won't stain. Lighter swimwear absolutely can stain, so just be wary. I'm gonna link my favorite Turkish towels below. After a swim, you might be working up an appetite, and that's where most tours will then go and try Cocidos das Furnas, one of the island's famous meals. It's a traditional Portuguese stew that's cooked underground using volcanic heat. Large metal pots are buried into the earth, and geothermal steam slow cooks the meal. It was really good. Tender meats, roots, vegetables, and lots of flavor. After lunch, you can check out the geothermal area, and this is where you're going to find bubbling springs and steam vents. There's even a really cool area to try the fresh spring water from different fountains. It's pretty amazing to see the earth so active all in one place. We took a private tour on the East Coast, and this is where you can make some adjustments to your plan if things don't always work out. When we were there, Terra Nostra Garden was closed due to maintenance, so we pivoted. We headed towards the coast. This is where the beach mixes geothermal water with the Atlantic Ocean. We actually got to swim in there, and it was really cool to feel the different temperatures, and it changed wherever you stepped. On our way to the beach, we passed a waterfall that was right on the side of the road. It's this kind of spot that you would have probably drove past and no one would have noticed unless someone pointed it out. We pulled over and walked over to it. It was a really nice spot and just so pretty. The flexibility is one of those nice things that you get with a private tour. But even on a group tour, the East Coast still offers a great mix of scenery, food, and geothermal landscapes. It feels a little bit more immersive than the West Coast. It's less about the viewpoints and more about the experiences. The East Coast can take a little bit more time, so I recommend you at least plan to go for about 6 to 7 hours. So if your stay is a little bit longer, you can definitely do a larger group tour. If you're a little bit more strapped for time, definitely do a private tour. Your tour operator can help you plan a day that'll fit within your confines, and that might just include going to the geothermal pools and then heading over for some Cocido and maybe skipping some viewpoints and maybe skipping the tea farm as well. So how would you plan your day? Would you stay local in the city or do the East Coast or West Coast? Personally, I think a lot of it has to deal with the time that you actually get in port. If you have a shorter duration, maybe go to the West Coast and then make it back in town so you can enjoy some limpets and enjoy a little bit of wine with a nice treat. If you have a lot more time, like maybe 10 hours, then I would say venture out to the East Coast and experience it all. What I really recommend is if you do have the funds and the time available, try to do a private tour where you know that you're going to be able to see everything that you want and it's all on your own time. I'm going to link our excursions that we did with our tour guides. They were all absolutely amazing and great local people who live on the island. I'm Jo, your mid-range traveler. Let me know in the comments, what are you going to be doing? I'll see you in the next port. Bye.